come up to me and said, Gleem, want a word? I know someone called Jinx, who is one of the Portsmouth Music Association guys at the time, before music.
PMS.
Yeah, PMS, service, yeah. Who has got funding for a beatboxer and a rapper to go around to youth establishments and to teach them how to beatbox and how to rap, to write lyrics. Obviously, under the full nature, and I love this bit, this was kind of like my heart line right the way through this whole thing, is youth service. No one could swear. So it's hip-hop. Obviously, I've got to teach young people hip-hop, but not swearing.
That's such an interesting thing. And I remember, and this is where we sort of, merged. I remember working with you with Music Fusion when we did all these sort of lounge projects and outreach projects and teaching. And the thing that was really noticeable was that, how do you rap? It was a weird thing. How do you rap without swearing? Exactly. And even you would, because that's what, particularly back then, I would say they would probably listen to a lot of that. But yeah, and it was always more prevalent in hip hop. I mean, pop music, you do get the odd swear word, but it's not, and it didn't feel part of the genre. Whereas, and I remember going, how's he going to do this, right? And it is about using this other words and syllables. Yeah, and
exactly that.
And I remember you doing this.
Yeah, my whole philosophy for that is that a swear word is a waste of word that you could alternatively use another word which is either funnier. So instead of saying the swear word shh, you would say poop or something like, and no one's expecting you to say poop, sort of like in the middle of a sentence.
Quite funny.
And then it becomes,
swearing is verbal punctuation, and in the right place it works, but this is not. But for young people, it's having that discipline. It's a weird thing about swearing, isn't it? If you don't know when. So essentially what you were doing is you were teaching them how to be able to articulate themselves without swearing.
Exactly that. And it's exactly that with a lot of them. They were saying, it's how I express myself. You can't stop me expressing myself. And then you got to enlighten them in as much to say, you can express yourself perfectly fine, but you can use a vocabulary. Put it this way, if you swear, this is the ultimate, and this is one gem of advice for any up-and-coming artist. Stop swearing in your final productions. Yeah, even if you do swear, but then you've always got to have a radio edit.
Have a radio edit.
Because the amount of audience that you're limiting just for having swear words in there, and the same thing happens on the algorithms for socials. As soon as you swear, you're flagged as over 18, restricted audience straight away. Yeah. Advice to any young artist, don't swear. Or at least if you're releasing a track and you want to release a minute of it, release the minute without the swearing in it.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because back in the day when we did that, if we recorded any young people and there was swearing, all right, we had tech, but we'd have to just labour through the file and go, right, get out the swearing, get out the swearing, get out the swearing. For doing a radio edit, you can basically just stick it into AI and say, give me a radio edit.
Exactly.
And it'll pick out the words and just take them out. You can even get software that'll swap the word around.
Yeah.
So you just record the word that you want to put in its place, and then just put it in everywhere. Yep. So, but you're right, it's such a good skill.
I think it had an inadvertent effect in as much as, obviously, we had to do it for our... We can't go back to our funders, National Lottery and whatnot, and say, here's some swearing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Here's something that you can't use at all ever because it's so explicit. So we had to have proper proof with proper lyrics, proper words. And what it gets the young person into thinking is kind of like, I felt like a teacher a lot of the time, where they come to me and say, right, is this right? Is this right? And I'd see shh and everywhere. And you're just like, right, no, we can change this, we can change that. You can do a different tact on that. And then kind of like unmark it or downmark it, let's say, and then not accept it until it comes back clean. Yeah. And the core thing about that, what that teaches them is reflection. And exactly that. If you do want to reach all that massive audience, you've got to make sure that your lyrics are clean on that side.
And acceptable,
Yeah, and if you drag them in, and let's say there are over 18s who do actually listen to your stuff, then they can go and pour into your swear words and whatnot. But for your commercial, for your retail, let's say, products, they've got to be spick and span. Because you've got to think that having no swear words opens you up to the likes of advertisers, sponsorship, brand deals, everything like that. Yeah. Having swear words is stopping you from that. Yeah. And trust me on this, you're not going to make your millions from the music itself. You're going to make it from the gigs and everything that surrounds that music.
And the marketing and the merch.
The music is the bag. in your shopping.
We'll get into that in the second half, where I think talking about the industry thing. But what I would say with young people that you've sort of mentioned is that performance aspect of what they do. And again, when we worked together, we had it. We didn't let people stand up there and perform if they were going to swear.
Exactly.
So, as somebody, performance is an amazing thing for a young person. Stand up in front of their peers and us, and sing or play or whatever. So they lost the opportunity to do that. Yeah. Because if you're going to swear, I'll give you. I shouldn't. It's not my show. But I did one of the last things I did with Music Fusion was in the Lee Park. We called it, what was it? Band, it was called, right? There was about 120 young people turning up every week. It was ridiculous. And then we had a scratch band who used to play, they called Quick Say Something. That was the name of the band because somebody asked what the name was and they went, Quick Say Something, and that became the name of the band. And they did Killing in the Name. It was the last ever band. And you know the bit in Killing in the Name where if you won't do what you want. And I'm just looking at them and they're just looking at me. And it was like almost that little moment I went, yeah, all right, you can. And just gave them that little moment. But there was a respect and it was cheeky. You know what I mean? They weren't, it was cheeky, but it was so respectful. This is the last time we're ever going to do that. I'm just going to push, which is what young people do. But giving them that opportunity to perform is absolutely huge. And as I say, and that's what you were doing. I mean, some of the artists that I worked with, that you mentored, and stuff like that. So that idea of, so you're in Music Fusion at this point. We're probably coming to the end of the first half, actually. So we've got you as Gleem the musician and Gleem the community musician. What would you say, let me see, I've got this here, right. Looking back, you may have to edit this.
It's okay.
I don't like this.
Auto edits.
No, I just don't like this question, right? You read questions, you go, I don't like that question. Now, I wanted to know something. There's almost like you've got many, 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 many moments in your life. I want to sort of focus a little bit on that young person, that young musician mentoring, looking at. You probably get many, but is there a standout? And it doesn't need to be that somebody went off to become the greatest person in the world, but is there a moment in amongst all those other moments that you went, that was me, I made that young person, not made, but I inspired.
Contributed.
Is there one there, or is that too much?
I think there's quite a few.
I know there's going to be a few.
I'd say the three core ones in my eyes. Number one, Kiz and Blessed.
They're two rappers, by the way, who did lots of work. Yeah.
They basically took over from me. Blessed mirrored me for my last days at Music Fusion, and vice versa. Kiz was when we went over there, I think it was Hailing Island, I think that one was. Went over there and he was one of the first. It was that wave of 8 Mile, Nem's 8 Mile. Yeah. So he had so much energy, so much need. I need to get into this, or I'm going to be throwing stones through people's windows, basically style. Yeah. So those two have done me the most proud, because out of the end of it, I cannot claim any credit for their skills, for what they've done, for their urge in life. You know what I mean? You can't claim credit for someone's works. However, I'm proud as hell to be part of it. To be part of their upbringing and allow them to do what they're now reciprocating back out.
You can take some credit.
Well, it's not for their works, because
no, but they couldn't do what they did if they hadn't have been shown and mentored how to do it. We both have worked for music charities with young people, definitely, and when they come in and they've got that itch and they want to do something, they need guidance and they need expertise. So and they can't do what they do if you didn't at least help them, mentor them. But to develop, right? Yeah. The first time, it's that thing. Somebody writes a little does a little, like 2 sentences, and your job as the expert is, that's all right, but see if you did that, or you change that syllable there, or you put 3 syllables in there instead, and they go, and they go away. You give them the opportunity. Exactly. So yes, you can. I've got over this now, and I think you should as well. You can take credit.
It's just one of them. I'm too proud to even bother on that side. But with them, just to explain back to the audience, is Blessed and Kiz, Matt and Kieran, they literally 7 years now, or 8 years, they've been running a night, word of mouth, and Battleground, which is both showcasing young artists all around the areas, as well as battle rapping, where people can win up to thousands. And on this other side of that, they are actually the organisers behind the Portsmouth Music Awards, which, to me, from my perspective, looking at what opportunities I got given, I could have probably competed with them in as much as done as much as they've done. Yeah. But from it's got to be laziness. That's all I can put it down to. I was too caught up with a job and doing this and that and the other, and in my own ego probably, to not advance what they done.
Yeah.
They took it to the next level, and they've literally done me so proud. They are the musical heartbeat of Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Undeniable.